I rented this apartment because of the price. Way too low for a decent neighborhood, but at the time I didn't care. After the divorce, I wanted silence. A place where no one would ask questions. The building was old, a 9-story concrete block. My apartment was on the 7th floor. The first night, I realized silence wasn't part of the deal. At exactly 11:47 p.m., footsteps started upstairs. Not stomping, not running. Slow, careful steps, like someone moving around a room, trying not to make noise. Then came a creak, as if furniture was being shifted. Sometimes there was a dull thud, like something heavy being set down on the floor. During the day, nothing. Complete silence. I worked remotely and rarely left the apartment, so I knew for sure. No footsteps, no voices, no TV sounds. The neighbors upstairs seemed to exist only at night. A few days later, I asked the concierge who lived above me. She looked at me like I'd asked the wrong question. "They don't come out much," she said after a pause. "But the bills get paid. Always on time." I tried to introduce myself, went up to the 8th floor during the day, and knocked. No answer. The door was warm, like someone was standing behind it. I can't explain why, but I felt it. The strange certainty that someone was listening on the other side. That night, the footsteps felt closer. Not louder. Closer. I started noticing that they followed my movements. If I walked into the kitchen, the steps shifted above it. If I stopped, they stopped too. One night, I woke up with the feeling that someone was standing over me. I opened my eyes. Nothing. But the footsteps upstairs stopped the exact moment I sat up, like they'd heard me. I started keeping notes, every sound, every night. And I noticed something disturbing. The footsteps didn't start at a fixed time. They started when I fell asleep. Not by the clock. By me. A week later, I spoke to the neighbor downstairs. He lived in the building for over 20 years. "There used to be a family up there," he said. "Husband, wife, and a son. Then something happened. Police came. After that, the apartment stayed empty for a long time." "And now?" I asked. He shrugged. "Supposedly new tenants, but I've never seen them. Same as the old ones, actually. Not after that night." I didn't ask him to explain. On the 11th night, the footsteps were clearer than ever. I turned on a voice recorder and lay in bed with my eyes open. The steps moved in circles, then they stopped, directly above my bedroom. And then I heard something else. Breathing. Not upstairs. In my apartment. I turned on the light instantly. Nothing. But the recorder kept running. I listened to it in the morning. It caught the footsteps. Mine. And another set. Half a second behind. That same night, I went back to the 8th floor. It was dark. The door was slightly open. Inside, nothing. No furniture, no personal items. Just footprints on the floor. Fresh ones. They led to the ceiling. It took me a moment to understand what that meant. Now I know why they never come out during the day. Because during the day, they're here. And at night, they're where I'm supposed to be. Tonight, the footsteps are coming from below. Exactly at 11:47 p.m. And someone is carefully moving furniture. I've been working as a night dispatcher for emergency medical services for 5 years now. In that time, I've heard everything. Hysterical screams, dying whispers, children's voices coming from empty apartments, prank calls meant to waste time. After 2 a.m, the phone lines are usually almost dead. That's when you stop hearing people and start hearing the silence between their words. That night started like any other. Rain tapping against the windows, the dim glow of monitors, coffee that no longer did anything for me. At 3:17 a.m., an incoming call came through. "Emergency services. What's your situation?" I said automatically. On the other end of the line was heavy breathing. A man, around 40 maybe. "I feel bad," he said. "The address. I can't get up." I asked for his last name and date of birth. He answered instantly, as if he had rehearsed it. I entered the information into the system to pull up his medical record. The screen froze for a second. Then the line turned gray. Status: deceased. Date of death: 12 days ago. Cause: massive blood loss. Traffic accident. I assumed it was a system error. It happens. Mixed files, database glitches. I checked the information again. Everything matched. Address, passport details, medical history. "Repeat your last name," I said, forcing my voice to stay calm. He did, with the same emphasis. "Listen," I said carefully, "are you sure you're calling the right number?" A quiet chuckle came through the line. "I knew you'd say that." My hands went cold. "What do you mean?" "I already called. Before. No one came." I opened the call log. That number had called before. 12 days ago. At 3:19 a.m., the last call before the accident. "Where are you right now?" I asked. He gave me the address, the same one listed in the deceased man's file. Officially, the apartment was empty. The relatives hadn't claimed it yet. "Are you bleeding?" I asked, filling out the fields out of habit. "Yes," he said, "but not the way it was back then." "Back when?" I asked. He went silent. Just as I was about to repeat the question, he spoke again. "When I died." The dispatcher room felt unnaturally quiet. Even the servers seemed to stop humming. "Listen," I said, "if this is some kind of joke." "I can hear cars," he interrupted. "They keep driving past. No one stops. It was the same back then." Without realizing it, I glanced at the surveillance monitors. Cars really were passing his building. Slowly, normal night footage. "I'm cold," he continued. "And I can't move again. You can see what happened to me, can't you?" I could. There were photos from the accident attached to the case file. I didn't open them, but I knew they were there. "Can you open the door?" I asked. "I tried," he replied, "but it was already open when I woke up." The connection began to crackle. His breathing grew quieter. "If I disappear again," he said, "will you log the call?" I'm already sending a unit," I lied. I pressed the dispatch button. The system returned an error. Address unavailable for deployment. "They won't come," he said calmly. "They never come in time." The line went dead. A minute later, the system automatically closed the call, just like it had 12 days earlier. The patient's status remained unchanged. Deceased. By morning, I couldn't take it anymore and called the local police to check the address. They told me the apartment was sealed. Inside, empty. No body, no traces of blood. But before leaving my shift, I checked the call log one last time. At 3:17 a.m., it read, "Incoming call. Accepted." And in the dispatcher field, it wasn't my name. It was his.